Okay, so today we're going to be talking about going over the Cartesian product, which is essentially a cross join or cross apply, if you're familiar with the concept in SQL. And basically, you're just taking data columns and some other data column and putting every single value in that column into the other table. And so we're going to be going over that today, and we're also going to go over kind of actually a triple Cartesian product where you do it twice. So you take two different columns and put them into the entire data set. And so the use case for that is essentially if you want to join various metrics together with various categories and stuff like that. And so the data set that we have here, it's randomly generated data, randomly generated names. We have a week column. We have metrics that are obfuscated, and we have categories, and then we have randomly generated numbers. And so essentially, we want to take the name, we want to take the category, we want to take the role, and we want to put all of that data into one table. And then what we want to do is get the Cartesian product of the date, and we also want to get the Cartesian product of the metric so that we can then take all of that data and pull in our associated numbers. We're going to go to our Cartesian prep sheet. And so first, we're going to bring in all of our category columns. So these are actually kind of across, which a lot of input tables have these sorts of things where it's like in a kind of a pivot table sort of format. So we essentially have to unpivot this table. So we're going to do that column by column. So the first thing is going to be, okay, so we have our name, and then what we're going to do next is pull in the other columns. So we have, what do we have here? Category and job. I think it is category, and we're going to pull in row 3, that, name, category, job. Okay. And 4. Okay, so now we have that unpivoted, and then what we're going to do is bring in our unique list of dates. So to do that, we're just going to essentially grab our, let's see, we can probably do this from column 5 or row 5 and down, and bring in all of our unique unique dates. So week number essentially is what this is. Our data is week by week. And then the next thing is we're going to bring in all of our metrics. And so it's essentially kind of the same concept. So we're going to do, bring in that here. So probably skip that. We're going to start at row 5. And bring in this, where not blank. And bring in the unique list of that as well. And so I also need to add a naming convention. So for this, we now have our name, our category, the job, we have our date range, and we have our metric. And so we're going to do a triple Cartesian product. First, we're going to do a Cartesian product of this table and this column, and then we're going to do a Cartesian product of the new firstly Cartesian with the second column. Okay. And, we just brought this in with the break formula, and we're changing it since it's going horizontal. We transposed it, so it's going vertical. And then here we got the unique list of that. And this we could add and filter, but I don't think it's really needed, so it's fine. Yeah, the next step, we can do a little bit of data cleanup if necessary. I don't think it's necessary here. Okay, so we have some spaces. So yeah, what we're gonna do is actually clean that up. So we're gonna get a array filter of this, where A is not blank, and then we'll do maybe a unique here, I want to say. And okay, now we have this unique list. It cut out some of the blanks, so that's good. And do maybe something like that. Whoa, make it something like this. Okay, so now we have that. We have all of our unique columns. Now we have to join them together. So for the first Cartesian, we're going to want to essentially we're going to take all of our columns and concatenate them with a pipe, and then concatenate them with the next column and with another pipe, and then like this. Okay, filter where F is not blank. Okay, and we have that. So first we're going to get our columns concatenated together. And we can actually just put this on one line because it's fairly straightforward. Then we're going to give it a naming convention. For now, we're just going to do concat. And then what we need to do is also concatenate this and split this. Instead of a pipe, we're going to split this by a comma and concat this with the week. So we're going to do, what is this? D2, where D2 is not blank. Okay, and see if that gives us an error. Okay, so it doesn't give us an error, but it only gives us one row. So now what we have to do is essentially turn this into an array and split this among the comma so that it goes into two columns. And that is going to be our Cartesian table. Okay, so we're going to want to split. We go, whoops, we go here, then we're going to split along comma, comma, and do that. And name this week and see what that does. Okay, so now we have it split successfully. We have this, of course, is concatenating the entire table as well into one column, which is fine. And then what we have to do is get it into an array. And so it's fairly straightforward to do that. Array. And now we have that. Now there is this issue, as we can see, is that it's only doing it one time. So what we have to do now is actually transpose that array. And now we can see that the error is gone, right? And it goes all the way down. And we have name, category, and job, and then we have our week right there. And that is how that is achieved. There is obviously the issue of this is not being split. We won't worry about that for now because we also have to do a secondary Cartesian. So we're going to put this as a blue for now, and then we're going to move forward. So we're going to actually take this and do the exact same thing. So we're going to take I and J, I2 through I, and pipe, and J2 through J, where I is not null. We're then going to transpose our metric, D2 instead of D. And we're going to call this metric and do that. So now, as we can see, we have the name, the category, and the job, as well as the week number. And then we also have the metric. So we have every single metric. We only have one metric. And we only have one week number. Ah, I see. So one issue that arose is that we're not getting all the data So we can use this flatten function, and it's going to flatten prior to splitting. So add that parens there. And now we have all that data, and we're going to do the flatten here as well before splitting. See that? Is that too many? Okay, so now it's too many data columns, or that's why it took so long to load. And now we can see it's doing all the metrics with all of the weeks, and that's good to go. Okay, now the last step we need to do, one row, is essentially gonna do this here, unconcatenate this and turn it into a normal table. And so to do that, we're just going to do equals filter here. Okay, we don't actually have to mess with that one. So we can actually just do K through K, where not null. We can do simple array, and then we can do split K by comma, and see what that gives us. Or sorry, split by pipe. And now we have that split. We're going to do the naming conventions like we talked about before, only 4 this time. And we're going to do name and category and job and week. Okay, and there we go. And now this, since it was actually already Cartesian against the concatenated data, we can actually just make this the colorway and just say that it's a part of the new table, since it's essentially totally fine. And now we have this unconcatenated data with the correct metric. We have a triply Cartesian result. We Cartesian week, then we Cartesian metric, and here is our new table. And so now you can bring this in. You can also Cartesian like metric and goal, and then for each metric goal, you can have the amount, and you can have the goal and the actual, and that is essentially a triply Cartesian product. We can just